Well, yeah, exactly. I had a title, but at this point, we're just going to go with that works for me. So next on Live Free and Ham. So hello and welcome to the Live Free and Ham podcast. This is going to be the censored version. This is our weekly show where we discuss ham radio topics in New Hampshire, New England, and beyond. And so if you're new here, we're thrilled to have you. If you're a regular listener, that's even awesome and better. And if you're in our private, you're part of our private Patreon live stream, we love to see you guys in there. Mike, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And a bunch of other folks that keep popping in and out. So thanks again. And with that, so let's get into our show. I'm your host, I'm your host, Eric, call sign N1JUR, and I'm with my co-host.
It's Paul, N1OG.
W1STJ, Todd.
Sweet. All right. Well, as we always like to say before we get into the topic, we got a few things just to catch up on. You know, you can always head over to our storefront at livefreeandham.com/shop. You can pick up a whole ton of our merch. We actually got a couple of new merch items in there. We've got your ham radio show and t-shirt. And my favorite one that I kind of created with Marconi that says RF and find out. And so, you know, that one's one of my new one we just threw in there. And you can always head over and pick up a bacon pack of our hammies. As I was sharing earlier, you know, we had a little bit of an interesting story and, you know, me handing out one of those hammies. So maybe we'll touch on that a little bit, you know, and so make sure you always head over there because we're adding new stuff to the storefront all the time. And so, hey, if you want to connect with us and the community, you can always do it in several ways. You can do it obviously in our live streams that we do once a month and sometimes twice, depending on what's going on. You know, we live stream. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure you head over there and subscribe and hit that bell so you get notified when we do go live. We also post on all of our Discords and all of our socials. So make sure you just check out that so you don't miss out on any action. And this month is a special month because it's our 500 subscriber giveaway. We finally crossed over, and we just did that just a couple of days ago. So thank you for all those that subscribed and stuck through us to this point. So we're going to be doing some giveaways and having some fun with that. So make sure you come participate and be part of all of that action. And as always, you know, you can hit us up via SMS. Leave us a voicemail at 978-233-1142. And again, all those links are in our show notes below and up on our website as well. So just another reminder, we're probably only going to do this maybe one more show before we kind of put this to rest. We are doing that 24-hour POTA. So you probably heard us talk about it last week. We're going to mention it again. And we talked about it on the live stream last week too as well. This is the time where you can sign up. We want to know that you're coming. You don't have to, it's not a guarantee. You're not locked in for, you know, fees and everything. We're just trying to get a rough head count. And so just to kind of recap real quick, we are doing a 24-hour POTA extravaganza at Greenfield State Park, September 7th and 8th. And we are just all getting together. We're live streaming. We're doing a bunch of giveaways. We're having it catered for food for the weekend. So if you're coming in, you're flying in, you can definitely, you know, come hang out with us. We have some space. So just for you, if you are right on that edge and you're kind of deciding what you want to do, you know, hit us up. Let us know. Mention that. Send us an email, livefreeandham@gmail.com, letting us know that you are interested. And, you know, if we can figure out how we can get you, you know, in here, whatever it might be, you know, ride shares, whatever be the case, let us know because we want you to come and hang out and have fun with us because we're looking forward to this event and it's going to be a blast. I mean, you know, we don't know of anybody yet that's done a 24-hour POTA. And so we are going to be doing that and we're going to be having some, you know, great fun all out that weekend. So don't miss out. You know, it's in fall, which is an awesome time here in New England. It's usually warm in the middays and gets cold at night. So you don't ever have to, you know, solely suffer through, you know, Arizona temperatures or Texas heat or whatever. You know, you don't get that up here in New England in the fall time frame. So
could get snow though. Just be aware.
Possibly, yeah. Well, let's not wish it. It's a little early in September. You know, hopefully not.
Normal. The last few Septembers, it's been actually like more like summer. It's been nice.
It has, yeah.
So. Should be good.
Totally. So yeah. And if you got more questions about it, we're going to, you know, try to give you guys more updates. We will definitely reach back out to you. So if you're interested, fill out the form. Let's get you in there and then we'll send you more information once we kind of put all the numbers together. and lock in that date for you. So if you like to support our show, obviously, if you're a Patreon member, you get to see this stuff real time now. So all of our Patreon members get to be part of our live stream chat here. We actually have Mike N2MAK. He is a supporter here, and he's hanging out with us in the chat. So good to see you in there, Mike. And you get to get unfettered access to our live stream content in our Patreon only audio only podcast, as well as a whole bunch of other awesome, great stuff that we provide to our Patreon members. So if you're in that stage at that point, make sure you head over and become a Patreon member. As our Bob Koff always says,
you can join for as little as $3 a month. It's not a big expense.
Well, there you go. And Bob is not wrong. I guarantee it. Man knows what he's talking about. So with that, we're gonna, nothing in the mailbag this week, nothing via WinLink, no do goods. So we're gonna run right into, before we get into Paul's segment, we're gonna do our usual a segment that we've just added to the roster here.
What's up with N1 OG now? A segment where we catch up with Paul on his travels.
All right. Well, with that, I'm gonna give Paul the floor there, because I know he's got some interesting tidbits that he wants to share with us, so I'm excited to see. But go ahead and give us an update, Paul. How's the flying friendly skies have been going?
Well, I'll tell you, I've done a lot of jumping this weekend. Let's see, I got three or four in on Friday. I got 4 in yesterday. I got another 4 in today. I'm up to 23 jumps total.
Sweet.
Now, granted, okay, so 25 is the minimum, but you still got to check all the boxes. You still got to show that you've learned all the things that you needed to learn. So yeah. So I mean, it's possible that I could do this within the 25. More likely than not, I'll probably have to go a couple over. I hit a mental roadblock yesterday. I tend to, when I have a mission, right? When somebody says, this is your mission, this is what you need to do, I get very hyper focused on doing it to the best of my ability, which in the sky is kind of a negative. Like you really don't want to overthink things. You want to relax. You want to let everything go. You want to be in the flow and just
be like a
bird. move with the wind instead of trying to fight against it. I kind of wasted those 2 jumps. I mean, I wouldn't call it a waste per se, right? Because obviously it was a successful jump. I did learn something. I did improve on certain things. So yeah, it wasn't a total waste, but it's mentally defeating when like you have a challenge in front of you and you go up and you try and it's not working. Right. And you go up again and you try and it's not working. And so the instructor was like, hey man, like you want to go again? Let's go again. And I thought on it for about half an hour or so. And I was like, you know what? Like, to be honest, I'm kind of mentally fatigued. And, I chatted with Carlos a little bit about it after the fact. And, he said, look, one big piece of advice that I could give you is it is better to be on the ground wishing you were in the sky than in the sky wishing you were on the ground.
That's some good advice.
Wise wisdom, my friend. Wise wisdom.
Listen, I even though Carlos hasn't been here, I'm talking to him multiple times a day. He's still very much in like my kind of support system for
Yep.
this process.
Cool.
So yeah, I really, really appreciate it. I'm now no longer landing in the student landing area, which is down the west end of the runway. I'm now landing where everybody else lands.
I got a question. What's the difference? Like, is the grass softer in the student area?
No,
Pride.
so in
all pride. It's like all those students, they need more space.
No, it's 100% because the students need more space. So
okay.
the west end of the runway, it doesn't have any buildings. It's got big fields all around it. There is a set of power lines that you got to watch out for, and a couple other things. But
Mm.
for the most part, like it's a much bigger area where if you misread the wind and you kind of misjudge your landing pattern, it's more forgiving.
Mhm.
So landing in the main area, you're also contending now with other canopies in the sky. Whereas in the student side, like unless there's other students up there, like you pretty much have the space to yourself.
Okay.
So it gives you a little bit more time to kind of understand, the canopy flight and reading the wind, by looking down and kind of seeing like, is the wind pushing me left or right, and that kind of stuff. But so all right, so jump number one this morning was my first time in the landing in the main area. Uh, did a good job. I landed a little bit off, but I was probably within, I'd say, 150 to 200 feet of my target area. Let's see, which one was it? I think it was jump number 3. Yes, jump number 3 of the day. I'll share the landing footage with you. Um, Me and another student, um, we were kind of. I was ahead of him, and I was lower in altitude than him, and so the way that the priority works is whoever's lower in altitude gets priority.
Makes sense.
Because obviously you're going to be landing, right? Whereas the person who's up higher can slow their rate of descent a little bit to give the lower person more time. But so as I began my downwind stretch, the other student came from my left side, and I was watching him. Like I knew he was there. I knew he was just above me a little bit. Um, and he like cut in front of me. And so, like, as he came down and cut in front of me, he ended up being on the same kind of level altitude wise that I was.
Wow.
And I was like, all right, well, it's no big deal. Like, I applied some brakes to slow myself to allow for that to happen. And so then I turned to go into my final, and all of a sudden the wind picked up.
Oh.
And so we went from like no wind to now I've got 9 knots blowing in my face, which for those that don't understand, right? So the canopy that I'm currently flying, with no wind will fly at about 14 knots, around about.
Sure.
So
14 knots forward.
forward, yep. And so with a 9-knot wind coming at me, right? So now 14 minus 9, I lost all my forward speed, and so I was flying over a group of hangars, and I was like, "All right, I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna make it past these hangars. I don't want to land on top of a hangar, right?" So now I'm trying to thread the needle, and I'm trying to put myself in between 2 hangars, but there's tarmac, and I don't want to land on the tarmac,
Yeah, that would hurt.
right? Like I want grass, so just beyond the edge of the hangar was grass, and so I was like, all right, I can make it to the grass. And so I just kind of worked with what I had, and I landed, and as I landed, and I stood up my landing, it was a good landing. But as I landed, the wind caught me again,
Oh,
and
jeez.
it threw the corner of the canopy into the corner of the roof of the hangar behind me.
Oh,
Uh,
ouchie.
So the canopy corner was hung on the corner of the roof, and I was like, "Well, all right, I don't want to pull on it because if I pull on it, it'll just rip." So I just kind of I went up and I picked up on the canopy part that was on the ground, and I went to give it like a little fluff, and just as I did that, the wind kind of just kicked it off the roof anyway. But yeah, there was a good fist size hole
Oh,
in the canopy. Um, now I didn't know anything about like how these things work. What if you damage a canopy and who's responsible and all that? Like, I mean, all right. Ultimately, it was my fault.
sure.
And so one of the one of the people that work at the drop zone came into the student room after and was like, well, it's fixed, but it's going to cost you a little bit." I was like,
Hmm.
I'm thinking like, I mean, canopies aren't cheap, so I'm like, did I destroy the whole fucking thing? Like, what is this going to set me back? And fortunately, it was very minor. It was on the end of the canopy, so they were able to put a patch over it. So it cost me $45.
Well, okay, good. That's a life lesson, but
So
yeah.
yeah,
it
100%.
wasn't like he had much of a choice. I mean, the wind changed and he was coming in, and right, like what were
Yeah,
your options?
well, yeah, I did everything right in that
Right.
in dealing with what I was dealing with. I did everything right. It was just, yeah, it was a lesson learned. So here, if you want to see the landing, I don't know if I can.
Yeah, for those that are on our podcast, head over to our YouTube channel, and it's at about the 54-minute mark there. You can watch the video.
All right, so I was trying to
Not the 54
make it
minute.
make it
That's
zoom, but
not 54 minutes. That's when
Well,
we
our
started.
Patreon
Our
folks that are listening.
Patreon, our 54
Yes.
minute.
Okay, so whenever we started the broadcast, count 20 minutes from there. Or, whatever. You'll find it.
all right. Okay, so you can see my mouse. So this is me on the right hand side,
Mhm.
and this is the other student over on the left.
Wow, he
And
was pretty far off.
well, so originally he was over in this position where my mouse is,
Got it.
and he cut in front of me,
Oh,
and then turned left at the same time that I turned left.
okay. Got it. That's after that.
So yeah, so you'll see we're coming in for landing at the same time. We're both on our final, and so here it is. Now you see all the buildings, right? I'm trying to thread these fucking hangars,
Oh, jeez.
and so there I am. I landed just in front of the hangar, and there the wind just caught.
Oh,
And
yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Oh, the other guy was pretty close to you too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So stop sharing. All right.
Got it.
So yeah. So the other guy, he did not have a good landing. He had a very rough landing, and he landed on the asphalt.
Oh, ouch.
So yeah, lessons were learned all the way around. Nobody got hurt. So it was all good, right? A little bit of nylon material got destroyed. Not a
Mhm.
big deal.
Yep. Wow. Well, good for you, man. Hey, those are lessons that'll help you, obviously, once you get past the official licensing piece. And, I'm sure you're going to have a little bit more of those, throughout your career, but hopefully nothing fatal.
Now, someone who was like a licensed, experienced, like a Carlos, what would he have done to avoid that? Like, is there
So
something you could have done? I mean, you didn't have that much altitude and the wind changed. I mean, what are you supposed to do?
No, so all right. So like I said, given what I was dealing with, I did all of the right things.
Okay.
Right. Like I maintained a level canopy. I looked for the clearest open area that I could find, and I flared, and I was ready to PLF if I needed to.
Mm.
Right. Those are your landing priorities in that order: level canopy, clear open area, and then flare and PLF. For those that don't know, PLF stands for parachute landing fall. That's the feet knees together. You put your you kind of cup your hands over your groin, and you just balls of the feet, calf, thigh, buttocks, and roll.
Yep.
So if you've seen like any like airborne training videos or any of that stuff, like they practice that drill over and over and over again. They jump off a box and have to land in shavings and tuck and roll. And it works. Like I had a bad landing a few days back where I was a little off target and I landed in a field instead of where I was supposed to be. But yeah, I tucked and rolled and
Everything's good. Yeah.
everything
A
was
little
good,
sore, but
yeah. So that was my fun little adventure for my third jump today. Jump number 4 went really really well though.
Did you use the same parachute with the patch on it?
No, I didn't because
they were
it
sewing
hadn't
it.
no, it had already been sewn and put back together. They were repacking it.
Okay.
And so
It's like,
yeah, so
I don't know. That'd be so weird to me. It's like I'm the next guy in line to get the next parachute. It's like, do I want to know that's been that all had transpired in the back? Just let me not.
That's my next question. How many parachute like patches are on your parachute that you're coming down with?
but as far as I know, that's the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, listen, this place is phenomenal about their gear.
Yeah.
Everything is fairly new or new.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that was the first hole in that canopy.
The good news is it's not your own parachute. Thank God. You'd be more mad at yourself, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
It would have been a little cheaper fix, but
But so I've found that my favorite part of skydiving is the canopy.
Mm.
Right? Like I don't mind the free fall. I have a lot of fun in the free fall when I'm not trying to chase an objective. I can have fun in the free fall. But I'm the happiest when I'm under that canopy. Like
no
as soon as
question.
that thing opens, like yeah, go ahead.
So when you're doing we'll say parachute mobile, are you literally your free fall time is shortened drastically, isn't it, for that whole process? So you get more flight time, canopy time?
Yeah, so like what Carlos does is it's called a high pole.
Mm-hmm.
And so the aircraft gets up to altitude, everybody gets out. You're the last one out because you're the one that's going to stay up the longest.
Yeah.
And as soon as Carlos exits the aircraft, if you watch, like within 5 to 8 seconds, his parachute's over his head.
Oh, okay. All right.
Right. So essentially, then he's got from 13,000 feet to 3,000 feet where he can play
Mm-hmm.
before he has to focus on his landing.
Got it. Huh. Interesting. That'll be fun times, I'm sure. Trying to figure that process out for yourself, I'm sure. I mean, Carlos would be great for the tips and suggestions, but it'd be like that first time you're trying to like unravel the HF cord, get the radio set up.
Then he has gust of wind and fly off course, and he'll be like, "Oh crap!"
To be honest, like I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to like just being able to take an HT.
Yeah, right. Start small.
Right.
Yep.
Like just to have an HT with me and have a hand mic or whatever, and just call out on 5.2.
That works for me, man. You could do that all day, and I'll be like, okay, cool. Another one in the book. it'll be a free for all. It'll be a pile up trying to get Paul. I'm sure it's the same for Carlos, but yeah, cool. Wow. Well, so what? So this, you said 23 so far in the log, and you think the end of this week you might be certified?
Yeah. So depending on weather and everything else, yeah, definitely by the end of the week, I should have my license.
That's awesome.
Now, Paul, once you get your license, is there a requirement to like do so many jumps per year to stay licensed, or is it like you're just licensed forever whether you do it or not?
No, so you have to maintain currency,
Okay.
and so for an A licensed student, Carlos will correct me if I say this wrong. I'm 99% positive that it's 60 days. As a student, I can't go longer than 30 days without a jump, or I have to go back and kind of prove that I still know the skills.
Okay, so wait a minute. You have to jump every 60 days?
Yeah,
What do you do in the winter?
you go south,
Yeah,
Seriously?
that's tough.
or you just you don't go, and then in the spring
You do a recertify.
You do a recurrency. Yeah.
But is that what you're doing? Is that you have to do all the things you're doing now, or?
So I'm not super knowledgeable on the recurrency requirements, but I know that you have to go with an instructor that can
Yeah.
supervise and just make sure that yes, you do still know the things that you should know, and then the instructor says, yeah, okay, either you're good to continue, or no, you should probably do this.
Now,
Now-
how does Carlos do it? Because he lives in the snow belt.
I don't know, because I mean, but like if you think about it, like I mean, Carlos goes down to Huntsville and he goes down to Florida a couple times. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably getting his jumps in regularly enough.
Yeah. So you're gonna
Yeah,
have
I
to.
mean, once every 60 days, every 60 days isn't terribly hard to do, but
Yeah,
But
but
it may be completely different for the D license. I don't have that knowledge.
Sure.
Not on the top of my head.
because I'm thinking like Pepperell ends like you did your first jump, your tandem jump, and that was like the last week, right, or weekend, or
yeah,
it was
they're
ending. What month was that? That was what, October?
That was October. Yeah, they Pepperell shuts down October 31st.
Right. So if you jump on the 31st, you have November, December. You have to have another jump in before New Year's.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's gonna
Gotta
be
go
tough.
south.
So this is gonna be like your snowbird season. You're gonna literally have a snowbird season. It's like this is the way it's gonna be.
Gotta go south.
I'll be like, all right, can I just go hang out in Florida for the summer?
No, the winter.
The winter, right? Yes.
Yeah, the winter. Yeah.
It's always, you don't want to be down there during the summer.
Gotta
That's
get
hell.
gotta get my jumps in.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see how those guys, those Pepperell guys that jump and the instructors, how they do it. Like, do they constantly just heading south to do a jump to stay current?
Or maybe they just recertify like when the spring rolls around and it's not as complex of a process. Until Paul gets that, we won't know.
Yeah, who's recertifying them? Because everyone's in the same boat up here in New Hampshire.
I know, true. It's like, hey, you're good. I'm good. You're good.
Recertify me. Yeah, let's just jump out and see how it goes.
I know. If we all make it, then we know we're good.
Oh, cool.
I'm sure there's probably a bunch of New England people that head south for the winter.
Yeah.
Even like I mean, I'm sure probably like the Carolinas area stays warm enough that they'll jump you around.
Yep. Wow. Well, dude, that's awesome. I know Carlos has been back channeling us and giving us like, hey, this is Paul's air tag. Here's the airplane tag. Tag, and he's just like, he just did this. He just texted me like, I know, dude. He catches this up too. So, but it's like good to see his side of it. So, we appreciate him.
That's cool that he's doing that.
Keeping Todd and I into the loop. It's like a special, update. Obviously, you're in the sky, so it's like we don't know like until you get down and settle. It's like Carlos, like, oh, you just took off. Like, oh, Okay, cool. I like this, play by play.
Yeah, I just think
Yeah,
that
well, there's 2 planes here now, so
Oh wow,
you gotta have
you're getting a lot of
both
time.
tail numbers.
Yeah, well, we got both of them now. He gave us the
well, I
reference to
just
the
keep
website.
thinking, I wonder if Paul's like flying through the sky right now, if he's just plummeting to the earth.
Sure he is when you're thinking it.
I'm sitting there scoring baseball games. I look up, I see a plane. I'm like, oh, that could be
That could be Paul.
Paul. Yeah.
Not that high.
Hey, you know how you said that, your plane or your canopy goes 14 knots. You ever see like when they do like military drops, like especially like during World War II, and they just bail out of the plane and they got those round parachutes? Like, are those just dropping and no forward motion, or are they just like kind of you just land where you land?
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
at the mercy of the wind with those.
you
I
are
think there is some steerability, but not like the square canopies.
not like that. All right, you know what I'm talking about. Like when
if they strap those same parachutes to the tanks and jeeps they fling out the back, I'm sure there's very little steerability. It's wherever they decide to drop them that they hope they land, right?
Yeah, but those paratroopers, like those guys are freaking. They just drop them like over trees and shit. Like it's like
Oh,
go
they do.
for it. Like it's nuts.
A lot of them joined Red Bull after, so
Yeah.
that's the way it goes.
Well, I've seen like now. What are those parachutes, Paul, that are like super skinny, like highly maneuverable?
Those are probably some type of sport canopy.
Yeah, like they're real thin, and those guys are like they whip around. You see them coming across, and they do loops, and yeah.
Yeah. So one of the guys here, I got to jump with him. I think 3 times the other day. His name's Patrick Kessler. He's literally a world champion canopy flyer. Like
Oh wow.
he teaches the teachers how to do the canopy stuff. Like so,
You're
I
good
mean,
ones, yeah.
literally, I've got the greatest source of information all right here.
Right.
And that's where like I mean I'm having a hard time where I'm like, could I stick around just a little bit longer and learn some more things? And, because I mean, after I get my license, the cost of each jump dramatically decreases. And so it's like, I don't know. I might stick around for a little bit longer.
Oh no.
We might be doing a 24-hour POTA in Indiana.
Well, no, because that 24-hour POTA is after Huntsville, so I'll already
that's
be in
right, yes,
Alabama
yeah.
by that
Yeah,
point.
right.
So
Yep. Okay. So you'll have to leave. Okay. But you could always go back. It's not like you wouldn't go Huntsville then back to Indiana. You might get that calling.
Yeah. When do they close?
Although does Carlos doesn't jump at Huntsville, does he? Or does he?
Oh yeah.
Are you? So then the question bears asking, are you?
Oh yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. Wow, man. Really
now, how much does it cost to rent a canopy?
It depends. I want to say here it's somewhere around $70.
Per jump or per day?
I think for the day.
That's not bad.
So
and then it's $10 plus a tip for packing if you're going to pay to have it packed.
So
for less than
how much would a jump cost? So you get licensed say tomorrow, and you want to stay around and jump again. How much is it going to cost you to jump?
So it'd be the cost of the rental for the day,
which is the 70.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it's $30 per load.
So it's 100 for one jump, and then it would be 30, 40, right? Like 40, like $45 each jump.
And so the question is then how many?
If I'm paying somebody else to pack for me, if I'm packing it myself, then it'd just be $30.
Now, how many total jumps in a day can you usually squeeze in, max? Like what's?
There was a student here today that did 8 jumps.
Oh my!
I mean, some of the more experienced people, they've said like 20, 25. Like they can they're literally like they're landing, they're dropping their rig, they're grabbing another one and going right back up.
Okay.
And who's packing their
You know,
And then
rigs?
somebody on the ground's packing, I'm sure.
Yeah, the Packers. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially like for the tandems. You know, like I've seen so many tandem instructors where they're literally they're taking their container off and throwing it down, and they're running to the loading area with a new one, or there's a new one waiting at the loading area, and they're just running over there, grabbing it, gear check it, throw it on, and they're gone.
Yeah, but now when those instructors, right, they're not paying to use the canopies and stuff, right?
They probably
No,
have their own.
they're getting paid.
They're getting paid to do it, so that's a good gig for you. Just become an instructor.
Yeah,
That's a
tandem
long way, yeah.
instructor. Yeah,
That's a lot of jumps to get to that point, though, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that would be after my C license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that guy that did 20 jumps, that's $600, and he'd have to have a lot of parachutes. That's a lot.
Well, I mean, that's assuming that you're talking about a person that's, you know, paying for every single one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
doing a
just saying if you
serial
did.
jump too. That many times. Yeah. Well,
Now, the guys that are professional, like the guys that are like the D class or the regular jumper, how many chutes do they own?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, so I was talking to Patrick today while he was packing his parachute. I was asking him questions about the size of his parachute and the style of it and everything else, because it's really thin, like when it's inflated. You know what I mean? Like the profile of it is really thin.
Mhm.
And I think he listed off like 6 or 7 different ones that he owns.
wow.
You
And
know, I mean, obviously he's heavily invested, like, you know,
And how
this
much do they run?
around 10 to 15 grand.
A lot of radios. My gosh.
Jesus. That's
Yeah,
a lot of money.
listen,
A lot of steak, I guess.
This is not a cheap hobby.
No.
Like, so, all right. So the 7300 is sold.
Oh, I was going to ask Frank, get it yet?
I'm gonna ship it out tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on which day I have more time. The 706 Mark II-G that I've got with me, I've got somebody that says that they are going to buy it. I'm just waiting for payment.
Yep.
But so those two radios together gives me about $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And my plan was to buy a helmet and an altimeter, so that I had my own helmet, my own altimeter. But now I'm kind of wondering, like, should I just take that money and put it towards more jumps? Like,
What does a helmet run you?
about $500.
Altimeter?
And an altimeter's $400 to $500.
Wow.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yep. Man.
But
I give you the support, you know.
Honestly, you don't want to like skimp on that stuff. It's like
You can't. You really can't. Sadly,
it's
it's not
you're
like
well,
you can cut
can I
corners.
get the discount brand?
No,
Like,
it's
this altimeter,
an investment.
It's so much more. It works like 70% of the time.
See, that's why in ham radio you hear the term hamgenuity. You don't hear that in parachute being as a skydiver. It's not skydive genuity, you know, because it's not like I could MacGyver it while I'm midair.
You're not buying the Quanchang altimeter.
I know, it's like
version.
It's close. It's really close.
You're buying the Yaesu brand, right, Paul?
Probably, or whatever.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like the stuff that I'm looking at is quality, because I'm looking at it as like I'm gonna buy this helmet. This helmet's gonna be good for the next fucking 20 years.
It's not like a motorcycle helmet or anything where you have to replace a couple of years. Yeah,
right. And same with the altimeter, right? Like I'm gonna buy it once and I'm gonna use it for the as long as I'm skydiving.
Yep.
And then eventually, I'd like to get my own parachute rig, and that too will, like it'll be all right, learn what I want and what I like and what I can control and what feels good by using, rental stuff, and then, maybe try and find something used initially, save a little bit of money. Yeah, eventually I'd like to have my own
Instead of having buy us a beer, we should have buy us a parachute.
Buy us a parachute. Well, if we continue the trend we're working,
we could
definitely work on that one.
Sponsors for it, like everyone could take like a little square of it and have their name on it.
But we got to get into monetization first, and we probably should get somewhere between 10 to 20,000 subs before we, start asking, people to jump in. Oh yeah, yeah. Trust me, I'm at fourth, almost, at 4,300, and I have gotten zero when it comes to any sponsors reaching out to me to say, "Hey, would you come do this?" Nobody does. Like, I have to beg.
Not that I would do sponsors on my YouTube channel, because I'm not about that. Like, but
I'm talking about on your parachute, dude. As you're coming down, like
right, Reliance antenna on the top.
W1 SPJ. And when
you're going to sponsor directly. He's a platinum donor.
I'd be willing to bet that you could probably screen print the nylon.
Dude, you don't even have to, you could do just your parachute, we'll just get you custom parachute. What's the
apparel,
gear,
like a jersey,
apparel, like jersey or whatever. How motorcycles and all the guys who do dirt bikes have all of their patches on, like the race car drivers with their race car suits. We'll do the same thing with
we'll put all we'll just stick our stickers on them. Oh, you got to take that.
Yeah, right. We got to reposition that one. That one's going to be over the left chest instead of the right, because he's paying more.
And then during free fall, all the stickers come flying off.
And then Paul, when you land, make sure I'm going to Disney World. You say that. They want to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
That's funny.
If you just, if you're listening to this part and something inspires you such to want to become a sponsor, just send us something at Live Freenham. We'll have a sidebar discussion. Maybe there's some rich centric, listener, subscriber that says, I got money. I'm going to, support Paul. I'm all game for it.
Look at, I promised my secretary that I'd buy her a house and a car. One of these, what is it? The Dodge Charger, fully electric muscle car. It's pretty sick. Has to have
special. You hit the lottery?
No, I said if I did, I was going to buy her this, and I'll buy you all your parachute gear. Oh,
well, what'd your wife say?
She doesn't know. If I win like $1 billion, what? It's gonna be like a drop of a dime.
Got it.
So how often are you buying lottery tickets?
I know, right? You got to start. That's the problem.
Well, I buy them when they get up to
So your odds are really good then at that point.
750 anything over 750, I start buying them.
You heard it here, folks. That's Todd's secret formula. You and 7 billion other people.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah.
But I figured the more people that know that I'm going to be donating things to them, that maybe I'll get a little bit more luck on my side.
Maybe. Or you might get a whole bunch of those ambulance chasers looking for your money.
No, because it's all before. Like if they accept it and say, I'm going to do this for you. Oh, that would be really nice and thank you, but you're never going to win the lottery. And then I win it. It's already done, right? So I'll get you a parachute.
Well, it sounds like it's a good segue.
It's very nice of you, and I will accept it.
Okay.
It sounds like a really let's shoot for smaller goals. Like I'm thinking extra, right? So that's a good segue.
Oh,
it's everyone's favorite segment.
And now a little something extra with Todd, W1STJ.
Still a general. Now,
that was a good segue. Nice job.
Are you editing and putting in the picture now after the fact?
Is that the old picture, or is that that's the new one you gave me, right?
Yeah, but I didn't even see it. Did you see it?
I saw it.
Okay.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Okay. Well,
That's weird.
You didn't hear even your voice?
I heard it, But
Okay.
I didn't see Paul's either. So I thought, like, oh, that's weird. Why am I not seeing it?
One more time. No, just kidding.
It must be a Mac thing, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. I like that answer. All right. Well, you got control of the audio too, my friend, since I am, crippled here.
Yeah, no worries. I got the hotkeys.
Sweet.
So recommended by 3 out of 4 V.
Oh yes, sorry, yes, my
4 out of
mistake.
4.
Okay, I should read it. Well, we're here to help study Todd's extra class. Thank you, Paul, for kicking me in the ass. Each episode, we always pick 3 questions for the extra class question pool to test his knowledge, to get his upgrade. And so with that, head on over to check out hamstudy.org. As always, we support them. And like Paul said, 4 out of 4 VEs are always going to tell you hamstudy.org is the best way to go. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to our VE Quizmaster. And me being a VE myself too as well. Take it away, Paul.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you, sir.
All right, for your first question, it's from sub-element number 7, because we're doing all questions now. Question is, what is meant by the term op-amp input offset voltage? Is it A, the output voltage of the op-amp minus its input voltage? B, the difference between the output voltage of the op-amp and the input voltage required in the immediately following stage? C, the differential input voltage needed to bring the open loop output voltage to 0. Or D, the potential between the amplifier input terminals of the op-amp in an open loop condition.
Ooh. That one's just not a layup. I couldn't even figure that one out.
Oh,
I believe that I remember this answer.
I think it's B, but I'm between B and C, but I'm going to go with B because that's what I thought first.
C tends to be the most common answers in these, select multiple choice ones. So we're going to go C.
All right. Todd said B. B is incorrect. Eric said C.
Yeah.
C.
As I thought is the correct.
There's my second guess.
I would have just
differential input voltage needed to bring the open loop output voltage to 0.
Sure.
So
Just
your explanation, an op-amp is DC powered, and when simply connected and powered up with no other components, the output will contain a DC bias. However, applying an input voltage will result in it being amplified and combined with the DC bias, leaving a new output voltage. So your hint, the correct answer has the words differential and 0. So think about a scale. If it's offset, you try to get the scale to show 0 when nothing is on it.
Okay.
It's not a bad hint, actually.
Yep.
Yeah,
that works.
All right. No big deal. Okay.
Still 2
Question
more.
number 2. What type of radiation pattern is created by 2 quarter wavelength vertical antennas spaced a half wavelength apart and fed 180 degrees out of phase? Is it A figure 8 oriented along the axis of the array? B, cardioid? C, a figure 8 broadside to the axis of the array? Or is it D, omnidirectional?
I'm going to say I think it's C for me because
I'm saying
I just
C.
finished watching
Eric, you're supposed to let Todd answer.
Yeah, I'm saying
I know. He was going to go C anyway. That's what he
either
was.
A or C. I think it's C.
Yeah, and the reason why I think it's C is because I just finished watching a video from Callum. But anyway.
All right. C.
Apparently I wasn't paying
Correct
attention to the
answer.
video well then.
A.
Yeah.
Damn it.
A is
There we
the
go.
correct
I-
answer.
You know, this is what drives me nuts. There's like one difference.
Yeah,
Yep,
you would have
it's-
thought 180 degrees out of phase. Figure 8 along the axis. Go. What's the answer there? Curious.
Okay. So the most significant factors here are the elements are fed 180 degrees out of phase
Okay.
and are spaced a half wavelength apart. In a half wavelength, a radio frequency signal differs by 180 degrees from the source. So you can also say that the elements are spaced 180 degrees apart. Therefore, when the signal is leaving one element and reaches the other, it is in phase with the radiation from the element it's reaching, and so the output of each element reinforces the output from the other.
So it's almost like a Yagi then.
And so then here, so memory tip 180 degrees has an 8, so it's a figure 8 answer. The signal is out of phase, so the pattern is oriented along the axis.
Hmm.
I hope that helps you
Interesting.
next time.
Maybe.
All right, so you're 0 for 2. That's all right. You're still at bat. Okay. Here's your third and final pitch. What is the relationship between the AC current through a capacitor and the voltage across a capacitor? Is it A, voltage and current are in phase? B, current leads voltage by 90 degrees? C,
Oh,
80 degrees
Uncle
out
Elon.
of phase? Oh,
Yeah,
did
you're
I
good
freeze?
now. You're
Yeah.
good now.
Okay.
We didn't get D though. What was the D answer question or answer for D?
I didn't read D yet.
Okay, well we thought you got clobbered. So fire D.
All right. Or is it D, voltage leads the current by 90 degrees?
B.
All right. I'm gonna say stop doing that. God, I think it's either B or D. I'm gonna go with D.
I'm gonna go with B, my friend.
Okay. Well, Todd says D, which is incorrect.
See,
B.
We've had
is
this
the
question
correct
before.
answer.
We've had this one
Yes,
before.
we have.
I think that we had this question like 4 times already. That's why I was like, it was always current leads voltage 90. That's why I was like B. Okay. No, don't worry,
Well,
man. Hey.
Todd, you struck out, but Eric,
Mm-hmm.
did you get
2
out of 3?
2 or 3.
I believe
and
you
that
did.
ain't bad. I did. There we go. Nice. All right. Well, as always, so if you are on your journey of studying for technician, general, extra class like Todd, you
feel like
might
I'm
be
getting
struggling with
worse.
some of these things. You might be, but dude, eventually you're going to come out of the fog. You're going to come
I
out
know,
and
but
you're
it's
going to
like
see
I
the
was
sunshine.
doing well and I just crashed.
I know. Hey, it happens to the best of us, man. We all
See, this
move
is the
forward.
problem. That it's like one word: current leads voltage leads current. It's
And you've had some distractions, man. Baseball has been a distraction for you. We just,
Yeah.
now that it's fading, you might get back on the horse and things will get going. And so, just like Todd, eventually we'll get back into the groove of things. Maybe you've been working to studying your technician, general, or extra class, and you've received one of those levels. And so, hey, reach out to us. Let us know. You can send us an email at livefreeandham@gmail.com. You can hit us up on the Discord. You can just let us know, and we'll make sure we mention it on our next episode because we want to celebrate with you because it is important. We like to see people get their upgrades and get into the hobby too as well. So with that, keep plugging away, guys. Ham Study is an awesome tool for this, and just like Todd knows, it will eventually click. It'll get there. So
You can do it.
yeah, you can do it. The mud dogs suck again. All right. So with that, in our usual format, because why not? What's been the ham radio week for you guys? I know with all the stupid storms and everything, what much of a ham radio week can we have? But what can you cobble there together, Mr. OG?
Well, so while my ham radio is been limited to listening to the air bands on the Yaesu FT3D,
Nice.
I did have a small group of people this evening that were like, "Oh, that's your radio?" Because I just leave it sitting on a picnic table, and I was like, "Yes, I'm a ham radio operator." And they were like, "Oh, what does that mean?" And so
Wow.
I tried to explain it in the most layman kind of way where,
Right.
I didn't get technical about it. I was like, "Well, okay. So there's licenses in ham radio just like there is in skydiving. And currently, right, Carlos and I both are extra class ham radio operators. We hold the highest license that there is in ham radio, which just gives us some more frequencies and abilities and things that we can do." I was like, but essentially it boils down to there's HF where we can talk to people really, really far away. And then there's radios like this one, the little HT. And I was like, it's 3 to 5 miles unless
It's
you're
like that Sesame
14,000
Street
feet.
episode. Near? Far.
It was kind of interesting to see like just blank fucking stares on their face. And then when I explained kind of like the differences in the distance, they were like, "Oh, okay."
Sure. Right. You didn't share any of the contact, like, hey, I've made a contact with New Zealand, and they didn't say, why did you make a phone call to do that?
No, I mean, I did, preface it by saying that, like, I've made HF contacts from, my home to Japan and, to the Middle East and, and everywhere in between.
Right.
And, to try and kind of show them the range.
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to be ham radio operators anytime soon.
So, question: how old do you think they were? Like younger than you or older?
Oh no, definitely younger. I would
Okay.
say maybe early 30s.
Okay. So, yeah, that would make sense with the not knowing the connectivity of that part because they don't know anything except internet. So, that's how it
Phones,
goes.
man.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a tough thing, man. All right. Well, dude, that's awesome. Either way, hey, whether or not you planted it, well, whether or not the seed germinated, you planted it, That's the way it goes. Maybe 10 years down the road, they'll bump into somebody else at a park bench and they'll be like, what is that? And they'll be like, oh, I remember this guy telling me, all about it. So cool. Dude, that's
or
awesome.
maybe the next time Carlos is down the drop zone, they'll ask him, hey, can you show us what you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah, then that's perfect guy for it. I mean, he'll spend hours and keep working that one. So awesome. Okay, well, that's not bad. That's ham radio adjacent and focused. I'm all go for it. Like I can't bring a great story to the table except for what I'll share with the hammies. But cool on that one. All right, well, over to you, Todd. How's your ham radio week been going?
Pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't done much. I haven't even been on. I did get on the net. Let's see, yesterday. So
okay. So you did that.
Yeah, I don't have a radio in my new Jeep, so I'm still in the debating on what to do.
Here's the good news. Here's the light at the end of your tunnel there, the end of the woods. If you've got time this week and you're not tied up and doing all this shit, give me a holler. I can come over and help you get something back in the Jeep.
Well, the question is do I buy the new 500? Yeah, or do I keep the 300? And the more I look at the 500, even though it's so freaking expensive, it is. It does have a lot of things I like about it. And the main thing is the speaker. Look at Paul's grin. Like,
I know, dude. That's like when you just jumped out of a plane right now. You froze, man.
That's his happy grin.
I got to screenshot this one because we need this for the T-shirt.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, yeah. So the big thing is that the speaker is in the head, and I've been kind of looking at my new Jeep, and I could really keep it clean because the way the new screen is for the radio and stuff is there's a space between it. I could run the wire through, so you wouldn't even see it. And it has that speaker instead of having the speaker that I had that was kind of coming off my headrest and kind of floating there and there. So I don't know. I'm debating. I still have to buy the mount because my old mount won't fit because it's a different setting. So
okay. Hey, you're back. You were frozen there in your smiling face. So now I literally have the three pictures I need for hear no evil, see no evil, pipe Paul, and it's just going to be hear no parachute, see no parachute. I've jumped with the parachute.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know.
Guys.
So let me know if any of you guys out there are listening to this, if you have the 500 or the 300, or you've had the 300 and switched to the 500. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Is it worth the money? Am I just being foolish because the 300 works totally fine? And so I like
the 400.
I have the 400, and that's the other thing. So I got a guy that wants to buy it, so that would offset my my cost to buying the new one, right?
Yeah,
take a couple $100 off. But then the
300 in one location, put the 300 in the other location, whether that's shack and truck, vice versa, whatever.
Well, the reason is the speaker stuff. So the speaker is mounted in the 500. There's one in the head, so you don't need an external speaker, right?
Okay.
So that's the big thing. But the 300 I took and it fits perfectly in my shack underneath, flush with my shelf.
The shelf, right?
So that would look really clean in the shack. So that's another thing. I was like, And the 400 is just
maybe you should talk to people that own the 500 and say, how good does that speaker sound? And because I'd be willing to bet it's probably not great.
Yeah, I've heard it. It's actually pretty good.
And it's probably no different than the speaker, the cheap speaker, the $20 speaker that I have that sits next to my head normally. So the problem with that is I'm always freaking, every time I reach for the back, to get something out of the back seat or something, I'm always ripping it off or hitting the wire because I forget it's there. And so I don't know. I'm just being stupid.
Remember the new, you wouldn't have to do the 500. You could do, the 500 is now the 510.
Yeah, the 510.
So it has that new technology.
I know.
Which is pretty slick.
Yeah, that's the other thing that really is because I was like, I'm not spending that just for the speaker. But then when I saw that rasp, that thing is pretty awesome. So like if I'm on the Epsom repeater and all those guys that are using those Quanshangs and are barely, scratching, you push that button.
Oh yeah, clarity
it clears it all up, and all of a sudden it's like you're dealing with a normal radio again. So that would be huge.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm gonna go to Ryan's. He's gonna bring it out, and we're gonna see what it looks like in the car, and I'll make a decision after that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably gonna make the leap to. Although, what's the difference between? Oh, that's right. So you have the 510 DR ASP.
Yeah.
And then you have the regular 510 DR, which doesn't have the ASP. So,
right.
I mean,
it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth getting the ASP. If you're going to spend that kind of money, you might as well get the top.
And you're not going to spend that much more because you're getting money back on the 400. Now, I like the 400. It's nice. It's also older. So if it actually breaks, you're kind of screwed because they can't get parts for that thing anymore. And I don't know where repair wise it stands on the repair market.
What do you think I should sell it for? What are they going for? I don't even know.
No clue. I
like the 400. I mean, it's got a huge screen. It's pretty simple to use.
It's a 400 DR, right?
Yeah, I think
They're going. Let me see what eBay says.
STM 400 XD.
No, wait a minute. DX Engineering still selling them? Oh, not available. Okay. So brand new at DX Engineering, it was $399 something, $399.95. If they were selling them, they aren't selling them any longer. So what does eBay got them
when
for?
I bought mine, I bought it for like $600.
Yeah, I bought mine was expensive.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's in mint condition. It's just been sitting here in my shack for.
You probably get close to like almost probably I'd say 300 probably. You know, I sold Casey my 300 DR, the 300 DR for 325.
All right, so
That's
if I
almost not worth selling. Like if it's only worth 300, you know, like
but if you're buying a $700 new one, $300.
Okay, sure.
Takes the pain
but
away.
Like, look at how old the 706 Mark IIG is, right? And like I put what I thought was a fair price at $350, but I could have easily asked for $450, and that radio would have sold.
Yep.
You know, like I don't know. It just seems like the value is not what it should be.
No, and you know, a lot of factors can play into that, depending on what's available for supply out there and how many people are actually selling their 400s and what's out there. The 510D DRASP is $599 at Yaesu. So if you sold it for $350, you'd only have to pay like
how much is it at Yaesu?
$599. Not at Yaesu, at HRO. It's $599.95.
Did it just drop?
Yeah, regular price is $729. They have a manufacturer's coupon right now that's up until July 27th of $100, and then HRO is throwing in till the end of June a $30 discount.
Then I'm buying it then.
Yeah. So
I mean, if it's only because I was looking at it at like $729, and then it was $30 off. I'm like, $699,
$599 now. So that's a $130 discount, and then you're paying what, $250 out of your pocket or less.
Yeah.
If you sell the 400, it might be a good deal.
Yeah. All right.
And that's what we do here, right? We help Todd spend his money. We've done our job. We're done. We can say goodbye. Thank you, everybody. We're complete.
Well, you did find me the buyer for my 400, and I got to go up in the attic and find the box.
That was just luck. It was at Ham Radio. I always forget him. Who is it? It's Ham Radio. This is gonna drive me bonkers. You know who it is, Paul. It's Ham Radio. Crap. Oh, Alan.
Oh, punk rock radio.
Yeah, punk rock radio. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, punk rock ham radio. Yeah.
Why is he why does he want one?
He was looking for a 300. I got to go back. It's pretty far back in one of the chats, but he was originally looking for a mobile radio, and someone said, "Oh, check out the 300." And then someone's like, "Oh, if you can find something on QRZ for something cheap, like there's a few 400s out there." And then everyone's like, I was like, "Oh, I might have somebody have a 400 that wants to sell it." That's when you were swapping stuff around.
All right.
So cool. All right. Well, hopefully keep us in the loop. Let us know. And then let me know when I can come over and install your radio so we can stop, having you constantly have daily withdrawals.
Yeah, I should bring the HT, see if it works.
Wow, full circle. Put it on a cake pan on the back of the roof and you're good to go.
be like Ralph, our president.
Oh yeah,
he's like you can hear as he's going down from his house, it gets worse and worse and worse.
Well, dude, his antenna's no bigger than this. I'm like, Ralph, put a half wave on top of that car.
Just put a mag mount or something. Do something. Get a radio, dude. You can get them cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could buy a Quancheng, mobile, for $150, and it's a dual band. So, and he'd probably get 50 watts out, no problem. But hey, he'll eventually get around to it. All good.
So, Eric, how was your ham radio week?
Sorry.
Well, yeah, no problem. It's one of those nights. I don't know. As we all alluded to, the bands are atrocious for these past week and a half. I tried to do a POTA. What is it? Friday. I went out to Salem, Mass. I had a client out there. I got done early with that, and I thought when I looked at my phone that the weather was going to hold off from the rain, and I was like, "Ooh, okay." So I kind of quickly pulled up POTA.app and found a couple of parks that I hadn't activated, And so I went over to what is it? Saugus Ironworks, thinking like, what the heck is an iron like park? And it's like a pretty cool, like, I guess Saugus is known on the map as the father of, creating steel ironwork kind of stuff for the ironwork industry. Got me. And so they have this park is set up. Yeah, I know. I said the same thing. I'm like, what? Please. I know, like, I've heard that they've had armories and stuff like that, but that's what this park is known for. They're the birthplace of, ironworks. And they've got a huge like setup. The park is beautiful. Like, so I pulled up to the park because it was like about 5 miles away. And I was like, okay, this is good. So I pulled in a parking lot. I kind of did a quick walk around just so I could see what I had to play with. And I'm like, there were some awesome trees there, but the park ranger was also off in the distance. And I wasn't going to be like, oh, throw a wire up at the tree and, get yelled at later kind of thing. And then, of course, as I'm walking back to my vehicle to get all my stuff after doing the little recon, all of a sudden my stupid watch goes off and goes, hey, in 10 minutes, it's going to rain there and it's going to like come down in buckets. And I'm like, 10 minutes? Yeah, I could do this, no problem. So I found the closest park bench, set everything up, got the Wolf River coil configured, put everything on the bench. I was like, I'm not recording this. I'm just getting out there and activating. I spun the dial. It was just, that's all I heard. Like, I did not hear anything. I'm like, did my antenna attached? And I'm like, okay, this is scary. I'm not going to do this. And of course, I can see off in this distance this big giant black cloud coming towards my direction. And I was like, this is not going to end well. So I was like, screw it. I sat down. I put myself on the spotting page. I called CQ, and I can't tell you how quickly. It must have been NVIS only, or a direct connection to Tennessee, because apparently it was like that same thing when we were with Walt. We were only going North Carolina and South Carolina. Tennessee was the only people that were responding back to my CQs. And so like I had 8 in the log, and I'm like, all of a sudden my phone goes off again. Oh, the rain was going to start in 4 minutes. And I'm just like, oh, this is not good. And of course, I've got no cover, no, umbrella, anything else like that. And I have to sprint back to the car. So literally,
dude, how do you not having a fucking umbrella?
Because I wasn't thinking like I was going to operate in the rain. Like because
you were supposed to be there with him to provide him that antenna, because you're always prepared.
See,
I always have a minimum of 2, but usually 3 umbrellas in the truck.
Okay, well, my wife had put 2 in the car. And when we went away to Maine a couple of times, they somehow left the vehicle and went back inside the house. So they never got back into the vehicle. So that's why I was like, because trust me, I scrambled to look for one thinking I could at least set something up and let the storm pass. So literally at my 11th contact, 10 minutes in, all of a sudden, like I didn't even have a second. The skies just opened up and I'm like, oh no. And I'm scrambling to throw stuff in the bag. I'm running back and forth to the car. I'm like, I pull apart I couldn't even pull the Wolf River coil apart because my hands are so slippery. The aluminum wouldn't like tighten loose. So I'm like, I just collapsed it as far as I could, threw it in the back of the truck. And meanwhile, while I'm running back like a fire drill, the park ranger's doing, his normal walkthrough presentation with a bunch of people in all umbrellas standing in the middle of the field while he's explaining the ironworks. And I'm like, dude, he's like not even like this doesn't faze him. He's just doing his thing. And I'm looking like an idiot running back and forth. But I was like, I got 11 contacts. I'm like, I'm wet, soaked to the bone. But, it was fun. And of course, 10 minutes later, the skies were beautiful and sunny. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to have to come back to this park and really activate it. But at least I got on the map. So that was most of my POTA, it was very, very weird. I have never spun 20 meters from top to bottom and bottom to top and not hear any stations whatsoever. I mean, and I looked at the spotting page and there was 30 spots on that page. I didn't hear one. And I'm like, what is going on? And so, but people were responding. So I don't know whether it was just, I was getting more NVIS or just getting line of sight to Tennessee, but I appreciate all the Tennesseans giving me all their contacts to put me on the map because I wouldn't have activated that park in that short amount of time. And so then, I'll tell you that I haven't done POTA at all up at that point. And then Sunday this week. So that's like a week later. And so Sunday we ended up, going to Sam's Club. And long story short, I posted a quick short on my video, on my YouTube channel. I tagged my wife was present with me and I tagged another car with a hammy, and my wife saw me do it. And she's just like, why don't we stay? And I'm like, what? No, I don't stay for these things. I just put them on the car and then I leave. And she's like, no, I want to see this play out. And I'm like, this guy could be in Costco for an hour and a half and we could be sitting here waiting for something to happen. And so,
and you're like, I don't want to wait and watch him fucking huck the hammy across the parking lot.
That's exactly what I was thinking to myself. And I'm like, I explained to her, I'm like, I've had scenarios where people just like throw the pig halfway across the parking lot and they're like, what is this crap? Thinking whatever it is and not paying attention through the process. Long story short, he finally comes out. I'm like, all right, we're going to wait 10 minutes. Literally the last minute he comes out. And like, as I explained to you guys earlier, he comes out, he kind of packs his car and then he sees this little pink pig on the door and he kind of stops like in getting to the door. Like, you know how you get like scared a little bit, like, you know, is the door laced with some cyanide or something like kind of thing? You know, he was definitely skeptical. He picked it up, kind of looked at it, you know, saw the call sign on the bottom of it. And then, you know, jumped in his car and obviously didn't, you know, so I drove off and I tried to get way ahead of him. So I didn't want to like cross paths. And of course, lo and behold, I get to the third light on Daniel Webster in Nashua. Guess who pulls up right next to me? This guy. And literally, I'm like just hanging out the window, you know, enjoying the sun. And he's just in the car seat frantically waving. And I was like, my wife looks over and is like, is that the guy you just hit with the pig? And I'm like, yeah. So of course, like he got it. And, you know, he's just like, you know, just kind of like surprised to see it. And his wife is sitting in the car all embarrassed, like next to him because she's just like kind of like hovered down so you don't have to see her face. But I was like, okay, it was a little weird experience. Like I said, I just like to kind of, you know, drop it and run. But, you know, it was different. My wife got to experience it, which is kind of cool. So she's like, yeah, you got to load the car up more. I'm like, yeah, I know. I've got to order a bunch more.
But did he do the KM9G?
No, the hat. No. It was more like the wave. Like he kind of waved. And then my wife's like, do you guys have an official handshake, like a wave? And I'm like, no, we're not like the Jeepers. We don't have the horns. We don't have like, you know, anything else. You know, trying to just do the pigs was enough, you know, to get hams to get involved. Nevertheless, a wave.
A secret handshake.
I know. Right. Of course, my daughter, like I was telling this story and, you know, today, and my daughter's like, do you guys have a secret handshake? And she's like, here, give me your hand. And she does like this weird thing. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, this is what the Jeepers do. And I'm like, oh God.
The Jeepers the Jeepers have a handshake?
Apparently they do. Todd,
I thought it was just the wave. Like
I did too. Right. Apparently there's more.
Oh, well, I guess I'm out of it.
Yep, me too. So yeah,
you know, it's funny. Like when I got my Jeep for like the first time, you know, years ago, my first Jeep, like I didn't even know there was a wave. I'm like, why is everyone waving to me who drives a Jeep? Like I had no idea like what it was, because when you ride motorcycles, you do that. Yeah. Like you know, you wave to other, you know, if you're passing other motorcycles on the other side of the road.
Some people do.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people do.
Paul's like, I'm not cool enough.
Yeah. But yeah, so I just thought it was kind of funny. But now you're telling me there's a handshake. Well, crap.
I know. I was surprised by that.
I'll tell you this right now, though. The one thing I can't stand is all those freaking ducks. Dude, it is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And like, they're all in the dash. Like, it's just.
It's over. It's one day I'm hoping we're going to see on the news some Jeeper gets into an accident by accident. And, you know, they get into a head-on collision and, you know, they got duck imprints all over their face from like the sheer force of all the ducks coming off the dash and hitting them directly.
Yeah. I mean, it's so dumb. And like a guy that I knew that he moved down to Florida, but he drove back up here and he was at the flying field and he's like, oh, you don't have any ducks on your Jeep. I'm like, yeah, that's totally dumb. I said, I'm sorry. I go, but I'm not putting ducks in my thing. He goes, well, you've never gotten a duck? I said, yeah, and I give them to my kid. And he ends up freaking giving them to his girlfriend or something.
Plays with it in the tub.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
So, Todd, I saw the perfect meme for you this morning, right?
Yeah.
And it was a body of water filled with rubber ducks, right? And the caption at the bottom says, Jeep drives into the pond.
Ducks arrive.
Yeah. I don't even know. Like, how did it even start? Like, I don't get it.
I don't know.
What does a duck have to do with a Jeep?
I don't know.
Well, but I think it's a play on words, right? I'm not into the Jeep culture or anything, but I have heard several Jeep people saying, "Oh, duck me." And so maybe it's oh, fuck me. Like they're fuck me ducks.
It's called ducking, but
yeah, but Yeah, but Jeep owners are putting the ducks on other Jeeps. Like,
Maybe they
if
want
you were
to
like,
fuck
if
that
you,
Jeep owner.
maybe that's why I've only gotten one duck. Damn it.
It doesn't say that in the title unless I read in between the lines there, Paul. So, AI is telling me that it's just a simple act of kindness. So if you're really being, forthright and telling me how you really feel,
Yeah,
hey.
like I could see like all the, meaning that, and then like all the Ford Bronco guys are shoving ducks, and all the Jeep guys are putting ducks on the Ford Bronco guys.
Oh, the Ford Bronco guys hate it. Like, it is like, I mentioned that to Tim Grayman POTA one time, and like he went off of a 20-minute tirade about how dare you put a duck on my car. So I think Mike put a hammy on his Jeep at Hamvention. So I don't know what happened to that one.
Yeah,
it would be funny if somebody stuck a duck in a tailpipe.
That one would be horrible, dude. That plastic would melt so fast, and I can only imagine what that would do long term.
But you'd be surprised. Like, you'll see like these people driving, and they'll have like the whole dash, sometimes like double rows of these Jeeps, of these ducks, and I'm like, it looks ridiculous, and it's just dumb. And the fact that this guy who's like probably pushing 65, 70 years old is all proud about it. He's got them all different colors, rainbow, yellow, pink, green. I'm like, you do know that looks ridiculous, right? He goes, no, it's huge down in Florida. I'm like, I'm sure it is. I'm like, doesn't mean I'm putting them on mine. I said, so don't put one on my Jeep or I'm going to freaking wing it at you.
Well, I mean, I guess it's no worse than the Corvette owners that all wear, the light colored polo and the jean jorts and the white New Balances with the calf high socks.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
Because they're the only old guys that can afford that kind of car.
Maybe. Well, their ex-wife died, so they definitely could afford it, I'm sure.
Yeah. One of the kids in our town for his senior project, he redid I think it was a 77 Corvette Stingray. That was his senior project. Like, the kid's pretty
pulled that one off.
Dude,
wow.
It's freaking sweet. It came out awesome. But like, dude, he gets a freaking junker and he gets the credit. And now he's got this kick-ass classic car.
Wow.
It's pretty awesome.
That is pretty sweet. Yeah, I don't think like we would even be able to do that. I mean, they don't like, you'd have to go to tech school to even make that happen around, where I was growing up, because they didn't have, like, high school barely had wood shop.
Well, I think he had to buy, like, this was like
car
on his dime. It wasn't like the school donated him.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
It said, if you fix this up, you can keep it, and that'll be your senior project.
Yeah, donate to the principal.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, kind of funny. Like you mentioned, like stereotypes. Paul was mentioning the Corvette owners. I mean, we've all seen the official ham radio stereotypes. I mean, like, that one pisses me off the most. That, like,
like the porcupine.
How many hams have you seen in the videos of like Hamventions and shit that they all look like that?
Yeah.
They're overweight. Their clothes are too small. They're wearing cargo shorts and fucking New Balance and
white New Balance, because that's the way to go.
Over their calves.
Yep.
Or worse, they're, if they are part of the Aries, conglomerate, they will be wearing their, fluorescent colored vest and their fluorescent colored hat and their, or like the one thing I really find hilarious every time I go to any like Hamvention or just any any ham fest, how many hams like that go crazy with their badge name tags. They'll have their one name tag of their call sign this, and then they'll have another name tag, and they'll have the lanyard around their neck. Like, I mean, they literally like carry around like 8 name tags with all of their same call signs on it. It's like, dude, I get your call sign. I've got it memorized. I'm all set. You don't need to tell me further.
But then they have also got it on their hats.
On their hats too, right? Like, just in case you can't read at the eye level, it's definitely at a ceiling height, so you're all good. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. It's like you almost have to get like the geek out of ham radio to like, like when you go to the, when we go to Near Fest and I see those cars with like 5 antennas coming out, it looks like a porcupine car, it's got antennas going in every direction. I'm like, do you really need all that? Like, put like 1 or 2 antennas on that, like it kind of blends in with the car, like, 1 antenna is fine. You know, if you got a little hatchback and you have your dual band antenna, like, you know, off the hood or in the front of on the, you know, whatever, that's fine. But when you start putting like, you know, huge ass antennas going in every different direction and you're driving down on like a Honda Civic, you know, you look like a
Stealth
complete
GTI.
Yeah, like you look like a complete fool.
I don't know where you're like. I've never seen the Honda Civic styles. I've always seen the big Dodge DeSoto 4-door kind of like cars that like they're white, or they're the big Volvos that have the 4 doors that they have like 19 VHF, UHF antennas on the roof that have all been drilled through the roof. And then they've got a big ATAS on the left side and they've got a Tar Heel on the right side. I mean, like, dude, where are you putting all the freaking radios in this car? And where are you paying attention to the road? Like, I mean, it's funny because like I was on 101A like 2 weeks ago, and I was just driving up, and this white Volvo with
I've
the
seen
only
that
thing,
guy.
it's like he's got literally in every corner of the top of the roof, there's a VHF or UHF style antenna. And like I saw into his interior, and he doesn't have more than maybe 2 radios. I'm like, are you putting in a coax switch? Do you like, you know, finding like which phase is better depending on which one you read? It's like, and then his ATAS, I felt bad that thing. He had original ATAS off the driver's side hood up front, and it was literally like almost like like horizontal. It was so bad. I'm like, dude, if he hits a car oncoming the other way, it's just gonna crack the glass because the whip's gonna hit it so hard, you know, because it's not vertical any longer. And I was like, I was trying to avoid him because I know he was just like, he saw my, you know, antennas and my truck and my call sign. So we were kind of doing that chase each other to the light kind of thing. And I was like, okay, well, dude.
But if you look at it, like, you ever see those Google Earth cars going around filming, and they've got like cameras and like satellites, like the car looks like it's been modified, like it's doing something right. That's what these cars look like, but they're really just like lightning attractors. Yeah, like that guy in that Volvo is going to drive down. If a storm comes, you know he's getting hit. Like if it's a car getting hit, like that thing is like, it's just nuts. And I'm like, why? Like, are you doing ham radio like that much in your car while you're driving down 101, or like, what are you doing?
Let me pose this question to both of you guys. What is the max? What's the max number of pieces of flare, ergo antennas, that you need that's passable on a vehicle? In your mind, like 2. And are both of those the same style, or those HF cover?
2 different antennas doing 2 different things. So you're either like an HF antenna and a dual band, or a UHF, a VHF, you know, if that's the way you wanted to go. But you don't need an antenna. 2. I would say 2. I mean, I prefer 1, but, you know, I don't know. I think
so. I mean, I say 2 because I have 2 on my truck. I've got the UHF, VHF, and I've got the CB.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I had an HF radio installed in the truck, I don't think I would leave the HF antenna on the truck all the time. I think I would, you know, put it on when I want it and then take it off. Because I don't want to drive around with a fucking HF antenna. Unless I'm doing like a Cuck V style where, you know, it's on the front bumper.
I hate that. Oh, that is...
My ATAS, Eric, I was thinking, now that I have a hitch on my car, could I set something up where I could use that and just run the mount it to the hitch when I want to use it, and then just take it out when I'm done?
Yeah, just put a coax plug above the receiver, right? And that way you could just use a short little jumper from the antenna to that connection point,
right?
And that makes your connection.
Because I think what I'm going to do is just use that as like my winter, you know, like, you know how you, like, if you're in a jam or it's pouring or snowing out, you can use they just go out there, plug it, you know, plop it on there, and then do it like from the car.
Yeah, just remember your ATAS, the SO239 screws right into the bottom of the antenna. So you're going to need like a trucker mount CB that you're going to have to attach to a PVC to slide in that post, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with it, but I thought that was kind of
so. I must break all of your rules because although I don't drive around with all of my external antennas, I have that SO239 off the back of my bumper that I can hook any antenna to that I want. You know,
that's just smart.
Okay. All right. So then I feel a little bit better then.
That's yeah. I mean, having the mount on it and to be able to swap them around is fine. Like if you're gonna go, say you're gonna go to a park and you want to put on, whatever your ATAS on there, fine, right? Good. Put it on there. You're not driving around all day long with 5 antennas. You put that antenna because that's the one you're using for the day. You don't need it on there all the time just to drive to work to have a big ass antenna on the back of your car or your truck. Now, trucks, I'll give you this. Trucks are a little bit different because, you've got you can have a rack back there and, they don't look, having multiple antennas on a truck doesn't look as bad as having multiple antennas on a hatchback or a Volvo.
Sure, right.
Like it looks different, right? Yeah. Like even like on a Jeep, like an antenna on a Jeep looks normal, like it belongs there. 5 antennas on a Volvo doesn't look like it belongs there. Like it just looks.
And for the record, there is nothing wrong with the mailbox letters on the tailgate with your call sign.
Yes, there. Oh my gosh, yes, there is.
146.52.
What?
Dude, in 1982, yes, that was the only thing available at the hardware store, to go buy the stupid little letters that you put on your mailbox with your numbers and your street address. Those are what you see on all the hams today. Like, dude, spend 10 minutes, go online and create yourself a sticker and print it out. Like, make it look good. Come on. Like,
do you have that on your truck?
Yeah, no, the letters.
Yes, I do.
He does. So yeah, I fault him a little bit for it, but I accept it because I understand.
But all right, so let me explain why I did it and when I did it. Okay, we were getting ready for. We were driving down to Florida last year, and I didn't have anything that said like, hey, this stupid antenna on this side is CB and the antenna on the other side, is 2.77 meters. And so I used what I had available to me, which was lettering from my boat. And so I just had the sticker pack, with the mailbox letters.
Different. That's different. I'll give you that.
So I put N10G and I put 146.52.
At least all your letters are white. And they're
black, but
they're not outlined. Yeah, okay, but they're not outlined in a gold little box around each individual one.
Well, okay, I just got a on Amazon just a back license plate cover that says whiskey. It's written out Whiskey 1 Sierra Tango Juliet.
Which for the longest time I couldn't read. It was too hard to read.
I don't want to be flashy. I figure like if someone's sitting in traffic, they might see it and say, "Oh," but it's like it's not like it's blaring out at you. Like I've got like one of those. You ever see those lights that you can put different words on the back that have that like whiskey wood
scrolling marquee.
Yeah.
I know you guys gave me shit when I said, "Hey, wouldn't it be cool if we bought one of those little LED panels so you could find on like Amazon that you could type in text that says I'm on 5.2?" I got lambasted by both you guys.
I do like the hand that you can switch the
middle finger.
So the middle finger.
That's beneficial.
Like if someone's like on your ass or whatever, you can just turn it to the middle finger and it lights up.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather have the words. That way I could just like, text it and get the fuck off my ass or pull my hair. You choose one. But
so years ago when I was in the motorcycle club, somebody had this stupid fucking, it was a toy, right? But it was a fist. Mm-hmm. And when you walked past it, it would flip you off and it would go and it would say, like I think it had like 9 different recordings in it and it would say something. So what I did was I took and I put Velcro on the bottom of it. I put Velcro on my dash and I just stick it on the dash and I just put the middle finger up. That way when somebody's in front of me and they're in the fast lane and they're going slow, I just put that middle finger up. As if move over in mirrored freaking print on my windshield isn't enough.
I know, right? Exactly, right? Exactly. So you could see it in your own rear view, right? Yes. We got to go back to those stupid, ridiculous long whips. Like I was scanning YouTube as always, because every once in a while I like to see other people's truck builds with radios. There's another thing I want to get into in a second with people and their mounts, because even though I appreciate Jason's nice handiwork in his truck, I hate that mount. It annoys me to no end, but I'll get into that in a second. Those long giant ass whips, I don't get it. They're almost a full wave. Is that the 3/4 wave? I don't know. What type of wavelength are they?
What does it give you?
That's what I want to know.
like how much? I mean, I look at it like
we lost Paul again.
Yeah, you should get that picture too. His thinking mode.
I can't do that. Okay. The show's never gonna end. Sorry.
Just have a picture. A whole
you got Elon.
Go on, screenshot that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, you got Elon again.
Thinking grouch.
He's gone now. All right. Oh. He's offline. What happened to him? He disconnected.
Wow. Elon was like,
no more thinking grouch. Yeah, we'll get the real answer on why, these long whips. Oh, there we go.
All right.
He's back.
So, anyways, what I was trying to say before fucking Elon silenced
he likes long whips.
I think it's a 20-meter quarter wave.
Okay.
Essentially, it's like 102.
Too much.
Yeah, but
you gotta think like military style, right? The military's been using those antennas for fucking forever.
In the middle of the desert where they need them, or in some back remote area.
Well, the thing is, though, you can use them while you're driving because you've got it down, and it just acts as an NVIS.
Yeah.
And then when you've gotten somewhere and you're stationary, you put it all the way up, and then that's your station.
It just looks obnoxious. That's all I look at.
Oh, it does. It looks stupid as all hell.
But on a passenger car of someone commuting to work, it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's not, that guy is not getting any more people on his radio than I am.
I saw a build on the internet of a guy doing a YouTuber, and I was looking for RAMs, like people who specifically had a RAM and did an install of a radio in their truck. And this guy had one, and it was mounted on his big giant bumper in the front that spanned over the front of the windshield, and he tied it back to his little basket at the top. And then he had another one that was up at the top of the basket that roped around to the back bumper. So he had these two giant waves of whips going over the top of his vehicle. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. And then he's cut to the scene inside his truck, and he mounted a radio right behind his head that's just only for the purposes of putting into crossband repeat. That's the only thing that this radio did. And it just sits behind his head. And I'm like, you bought a radio that's a dual bander to put in crossband repeat just to sit behind your head. And then his center console, he mounted this crazy, similar to kind of how Jason does his setup with the big pipes and everything. And he covered over all of his radio, his controls for AC and venting and all that stuff. So nothing in front of the regular dash was even available to get around or touch, because he had 3 other radios and a tablet. And I'm just like, dude, the ergonomics alone on this is ridiculous. It's I'm not going to be paying attention to that while I'm driving, but at the same time, I want to be able to hear the radio or deal with the controls for climate. And I kind of commented and said, hey, you might want to rework the ergonomics and the layout a little bit, because it doesn't make sense in my mind, but nice design. Oh, what do you got? Let's throw, what do you got this one? Okay. So this is the whip. Okay.
But the thing is look, it's going the wrong way.
Yeah.
all right. I'm not
why would you have it in there?
Why am I not seeing that? Did you share your screen?
Yeah. It's in the live recording.
You don't see the video?
Do I have to hit editor?
Picture?
Oh. Affecting.
No, are you looking at the live? Here, let's just do this. I'm going to go out of studio mood. You see it now? Save it easier.
No.
How big do I have to make this?
Big in it. Oh, now I see it. All right, I see it now.
Okay, it's in big in now.
So why didn't I see it before?
I don't know. Apple,
you're probably looking at the other
the transition, the studio side.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, the whip's wrong.
Okay.
It should be the other way. Although,
see now, but that on that truck looks normal.
Hummer.
Yeah, I mean, it looks
it's
like
military because you're used to it.
But it looks like it belongs there.
Yeah.
You put that thing on a Volvo, it looks stupid.
It does. Let's see if I can find that picture. Let me grab this one here. I know I saw it somewhere. Come on. Anyway, yeah, like Hummers make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe large pickup trucks, like 3/4, half 3/4 1 ton kind of trucks. But when you start putting them like on half tons and you just make it look like a porcupine, or even like make it look like porcupine with a bunch of antennas, and then add those as another layer, it just totally makes it look stupid. You get a lot of looks though, I'll give you that.
Yeah, like what a loser. Who's that loser driving down the road?
Exactly. That is literally how it looks. It's funny because like when I did my videos for my truck, and a lot of the comments I got were good comments, but then I always got the few from the typical hams. You could tell who they were because they were like, man, that install is too expensive for me. I prefer to just put a bunch of ham sticks on the back of my car and mag mounts and tri mounts and basically look at like the porcupine, and it does the same thing for a lot less. And I'm like,
right. And all those people that are putting, if you've noticed, like cars they're not like as metal as they used to be. They're more
right. Well, that's why they use the Volvos and the old 1980s vehicles.
But they're more like like a
soda can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And those mag mounts don't stick on them, and it's not going to work the way it's, So, yeah, it's kind of funny. Things are changing.
Yeah, dude. So what's so along the lines of the antennas then? So what's the max limit of radio should you have in your vehicle?
Like permanently mounted?
Yeah. 3. Okay. And are all those ham, or are those just ham and a CB?
UHF, VHF, HF, and a CB.
Yeah, that would be the max.
Yep.
Absolutely. You don't need more than one radio doing the same thing. Like you don't need 2 VHF, UHF radios in. There's no need for it. Just stupid.
Every day, yes, I agree.
No,
but
it's
like
stupid. Not even any time. Why?
I heard that Jim from Coffee and Ham Radios, he has one radio that is UHF, VHF, and he only does APRS on it. And then he's got one that's
exactly
UHF, VHF that he talks on.
Yep. Yeah. There are those people out there who do that.
I don't get it, but I mean, whatever, man.
So he's got 2 antennas, correct? Running
at least
those 2 radios, one for just APRS.
Well, yeah, I mean, he could do like a diplexer and get away with it, which, that's 1 antenna into 2 radios.
So he's willing to put that much effort into putting a radio in a car just to run APRS that really no one really gives a shit about. Like no one's following him or using it, right?
Yeah, okay. So I mean, we all know where APRS kind of stands.
I tried APRS and because I would keep screwing up the radio. I ended up broadcasting because like the knob would switch and I'd be broadcasting on Westford or Paxton. The guy'd be like, "You're broadcasting APRS."
You get a nice nasty email saying, "Hey,
like,
we know you've been broadcasting."
I don't give a crap about this anymore. I just shut it off. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not using it. Well, don't need it.
But that's the same premise of why Jim runs a separate radio. He could just set the APRS and it never goes. He never touches it. He just put power to it.
Right. But again, for what? I never used it for anything except I've never used it in it was broadcasting for what? I never got a message. I never got anything.
Well, okay. I know Paul's got some good experience, at least with APRS, because he's pointed out the WinLink stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so it is cool that you get the notification for WinLink. But really, like, I mean, other than traveling, like, I don't use APRS. And I only use it for traveling because my message is, hey, I'm in the truck and I'm on 146.52.
Sure.
Like, that's what my message is. I beacon out.
Yeah, I could see doing that, having that message saying if you're monitoring that and you're traveling, that would make sense.
Let me throw this out at you, and this is kind of why I run it. So yeah, the APRS in most of these radios that are for these manufacturers out there are half baked and garbage. Like they're just hot garbage in terms of being able to use it to actually respond to a message from somebody else. Still use like the SMS gateways. Thank you. And those types of things. It's not great. I mean, I subscribe to the same thing like KM4 ACK. Smart Jason does an awesome job tearing into APRS. He's done an awesome job with the 1F doing that and just saying it's not great. It's not fully there. And he's done it with, a lot of the 500s and everything else like that. And I love it. At the same time though, APRS is a great tool to beacon out, because if you ever pay attention to the propagation tropo maps that are out there that do real-time kind of distance propagation for VHF and UHF in the area, that you can kind of get where the hotspots are, APRS contributes to a lot of that. So like as I'm beaconing when I'm driving out there and I'm passing that information off to APRS network, that feeds that network as well to give other hams that might be wanting to try to score a 6 meter long distance contact the opportunity, or a 2 meter distance contact, because that's feeding that system to be able to give us more real-time data. And that's why I do it. I don't think I've ever sent an APRS message. Well, no. When I first got it, I sent a bunch of them and none of them came back to me. Nobody responded. I think I texted myself once when the SMS gate did work before you went the other way, but I've never used it. And maybe they use it in Aries a lot. I know they do it obviously for road races and that tracking stuff, because Tim has said that they've used that for like the lead vehicles and the follow chase vehicles and stuff like that, which makes total sense. That's great for that, because that's what I see as a closed course. But everyday use, yeah, I subscribe to K Murder's approach. It's like it's useless. It really doesn't like give me anything. Yeah, it won't even give me that. Like, I mean, literally, I might have to pop a lot of Viagra to make that happen. To make it worth my while. So, yeah, it would be if Kenwood, and I'm going to finish my rant here. If Kenwood smacked Yaesu across the face and every other manufacturer that was creating an APRS implementation and said, "Here, follow this." Kenwood's way they did it was perfect, but I'm not going to buy a Kenwood just to play with the APRS. I'm sorry. I'm not going to spend $700 on any of those radios just so I can have a good implementation of APRS, because it's just not worth my time. So, end rant. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
Thank you for sharing in my hatred of APRS.
You're welcome. Same thing with my hatred of CB. I just can't. I love Walt. I just can't get back to CB. I just don't want it. Like, if Walt gave me a radio, I'd say, "Here you go, Walt." It reminds me of like, you want to hear my ham radio? Like, you want to hear my CB? No, I don't.
Like CB, there's like, how do you call out to someone? Like, do you do it like just throw out? There's no call signs or anything. What do you do to get someone on the radio?
I've never gotten into CB like Walt. Where like I don't understand the letter number configurations that they assign each other. Like they give themselves these combinations. I use it for driving, right? Like when I'm driving, I want to hear what the truckers are saying, and they don't use it as frequently as they used to.
Right.
But anytime that there's like some type of traffic jam or something,
are they on channel 9 still? On
19.
That's 19. What I meant. 19. Yeah.
19 and 17 are the primary ones.
Hey, Paul, they have this great technology. It's called Waze. Waze does all of that for me.
Yeah. Waze is.
Yeah, but Waze isn't going to tell you, hey, the accident up ahead is blocking the left lane, so like everybody needs to be in the right lane.
Mine does.
Oh, All right.
Yeah,
They've improved it.
I don't fucking. I haven't used Waze in a long
better.
time.
Waze gets better every day. It's getting more accurate.
That's my justification. Like if we're using the trucker CB, like you said, it's like, hey, can I get road accurate, updated information? Like, I just can't put a radio in my truck just for that. Like, that would be like, me putting up a fourth antenna on my truck for no reason at all.
They sell HT
handheld, but dude, how often do you remember to bring your HT in the car and then nevertheless have to figure out how to charge it to keep it charged so you can remember to use it again? No, not gonna happen. My CB days are gone. I mean, when I was a kid, we took it when we went down to Georgia, played with all the truckers. My parents learned that truckers were, assholes and used the F word all the time. And that's how I learned the F word. But
I was really disappointed when I was stuck in that propane tank flipped over.
But you used 5.2 for that.
I know, but no one was there.
Well, that's another story.
And then the only way I was able to talk to people was talking to the Epson repeater, and that's where I got Ryan. And he was like, "Oh, thanks, dude. I'm heading up that way. I'll take the back roads." And he's like, "Just want to let you know, I'm already past you, and I'm still sitting there." Mm-hmm. So that worked. But I see a lot of truckers, especially around when I've gone down to North Carolina, that they have ham radio antennas too.
They do.
Like they're running both. So I think when you were traveling on 5.2, did you hear a lot of people on it?
Funny.
And I called out regularly.
Yeah.
Huh.
On my way down to North Carolina, I made a conscious effort. I put a little stick-it note on my dash. Every time I get into a new state, call on 5.2. And, after a while, I think I made like 3 contacts total, but that was like I got Pennsylvania. I got somebody in, was it Delaware or Washington, D.C.? I can't remember one of those 2 states. And it wasn't too bad. I had 1 or 2 decent conversations, but outside of that, like Paul said, it was dead. It was quiet.
Well, so I will say though, all right. So up and down the East Coast, I've had a lot more success where, like, hey, I'm in Connecticut, N10G, 93 southbound in Connecticut, just listening. And somebody will come back, right? Hey, N10G, 93 southbound in Delaware, and somebody will come back, right? And so, like, going down to Florida and back, I made a lot of 5.2 contacts. But for whatever reason, I don't know, like going through upstate New York and Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, just nothing.
Nothing. I get nothing in Vermont. You think like when I get to like peaks, when I went to back roads into New York, going up to Troy in that area for client runs, I used to go up to the like top of Loon and I'd be like slow driving through there, calling on 5.2. You think I hear anybody? Nope. Nobody from Vermont, nothing at all. It was dead. And then, New York was the same way. Like, I mean, you go down 93 and your signal's just actually, no. Yeah, that was HF. So no, that was definitely not 5.2. But yeah, I share your sentiment.
Yeah. And I mean, you're familiar with like where Hogback Mountain is in New York, right?
Yep.
And like, I figured for sure, like when I crested Hogback, I started calling out.
Nothing.
Nope. Nothing.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. It was disappointing. Very disappointing. Man, yeah, I wish
I could see having like a shack and having a dedicated radio, for 5.2, just leaving it on monitoring.
Well, you do that now, right?
Who, me?
Yeah, I thought you had you have APRS running on your 400 or no?
No, I do. I don't use it. I normally just run Epsom and Bedford.
There we go, folks. So why don't you put 5.2 on the B band then?
Because I never hear anyone, and I'm always listening to Epsom or what is the other one I do? Hold on,
Greylock.
So I will say at home, when I had the whole station set up in my house,
yeah.
So I had the 7300 for HF, and then I had the 706 Mark II-G. And that was VHF, UHF only. I didn't have an HF antenna connected to it. But what I would do is I would scan the like N10 IMO repeaters, IRS repeater, 14652, 446, 600, like, and there were more than a few times where like it would stop on 14652, and somebody asking for a radio check or something, or
Yeah.
it was Dale, and I'd be like, hey, all right, yep, all right, yeah, I'm here, I hear you, let's have a conversation real quick.
Yeah, dude, that's, if I could go back in time and find the knucklehead who decided to spread the idea that 5.2 should only be this listening emergency channel. Now, granted, I understood it. Like, I grew up in part, and I said this in other podcasts or in other episodes, where that would be the sign on the highway you'd see, for emergencies, dial one, call up 14652, and they had the police, dispatch trained on how to listen for motorists reporting in stuff. But at that point, we didn't have cell phones, so like that made sense. Now everybody's got a freaking cell phone. Let's change that and make it something different instead of like this dead band. It's
Yeah, make it like the chat band.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Like the universal, like that's where you go and have conversation, and then you could always just and then people normally if you want a private conversation you could just bump down,
or do exactly like, let's start putting in the adventure protocol that George KJ6VU created. Use PLs, start doing PLs, and then create a custom subset of them for any frequency you're using simplex wise. So yeah, I applaud like Amy doing all of that over where she's doing in Echo Woods with all the 5.2, trying to get clubs to talk on 5.2. I think it would be kind of tough in our club. Like, I don't think a lot of the guys would just, do that. Now, maybe that might surprise me, but, we might have to like organize something like that at a high level to be able to get everybody all on the same page all at the same time, because, nobody would, remember to go, oh, I got to get in my car and, go out and play on 5.2. But I don't know. Like Rob does it.
Yeah. I mean, how far do you really get on simplex?
Yeah, got a good antenna.
All depends.
Like if you're on the road and you're cruising down and you get someone on there, like how far are you going to get depending on where they're going? Like if I'm talking to Ryan, I could probably get Ryan from his house. He starts driving. If he starts heading south and I head north, like how long is it going to go before we're not talking to each other? It's not very far.
Your elevation.
All right. It also depends on, like, we've got all kinds of freaking mountains and shit and rock all over the place. If you were out in the plains where it's dead flat, it probably goes a long way.
Yeah, 1 watt would carry you pretty far.
Yeah. I mean, look, I told you guys the story about, how I was driving south from Gorham, and I was going through the Franconia Notch, and I was talking on simplex with a guy that was on the Ferris wheel at Storyland.
Yeah.
That was a cool freaking contact, but that was a good separation.
I just want to know what the hell the guy was doing in Storyland on a Ferris wheel with an HD.
He was against his will there with his family. Of course, he was like, I'd rather play radio. My wife promised me to go to Mount Washington.
Sitting there, and he's like having a conversation with you.
Trying to make the best of a good situation.
The evil eye from his wife.
Oh, I guarantee she's in the other chair going, what is that idiot doing? Because, why not? If he could do HF, he probably would have thrown a wire off the side of the, or tapped in a couple of leads to the chair itself and tried to, run the little RF.
Tune the Ferris wheel?
Exactly, run a little RF.
All of a sudden, everyone's getting burns.
It's like, why am I feeling tingly? I don't understand. Dude, that would be impressive.
Could you imagine? Connect a G90 to the Ferris wheel?
Dude, maybe that's something we throw out Kevin. Kevin, if you can find a friend who's got a Ferris wheel, I'm sure they have carnies come by all the time that he can get one ride by himself. Just tune it up and see what happens. That'd be cool. I'd watch that one. That would definitely be a viral video for him.
It's funny.
Oh, dude. Well, we're getting a little deep and wide in this one. So
getting late for this guy.
Yeah, well, dude, Paul's got an extra hour on under his belt there. I got to bolt early. I got to drive down to Connecticut tomorrow, which is not going to be fun. I'm not going to be anywhere near Izzo, which is sad. So that's my worst part. Like, I could at least said, "Hey, dude, let's go activate." No, I'm not even anywhere near him.
You're like, I got to work.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That would be that
That'd
would
be the
always
one
be
time. That would be the time he'll be like, dude, I'm up here in New Hampshire.
dude, that would be the case. Yeah. At that point, I'd be ringing you up going, dude, hey, find Izzo now.
Yeah.
Quickly. All right. Well, let's put a bow on this one, I guess, guys. You know, it's funny because like this is kind of our period of time. And so I just was thinking about this in the car ride on the way back from Maine today. Like, dude, we're getting into almost our third year now, I think, at this point, because our first show started way back in June, I think it was. And yeah, we're almost up to, I was just looking at
We're in our third year. I think we were in our second year.
So we're 2 years old now, and our first episode started in June. So June 5th, which is 4 days now away in 2023. So yeah, it's 2 years old. So we're probably going to be getting it.
We're going into our third year.
Yeah. So we're
2
going
years
into our third
complete.
year. Yep. So, you know, it's kind of not surprising because, you know, I know at this point we were all planning for field day and we're getting crazy with other stuff. So, you know, we're just kind of hanging out. So if you expected some great, amazing topic, which, you know, we don't always bring to the table all the time, but you know, it was kind of fun just to hang out.
Do yourself a favor and send us a topic that you want to hear on Live Free and Ham, and we would be glad to talk about it.
Yeah, that's actually a good. We actually have over on our Discord a category called. Why can't I find it?
We've got a lot of categories.
Yeah, it's called Listener Submitted Show Topic. So if you got a show topic you want to share with us, definitely post it over there. Yeah, go on Discord. Share it with there.
Or send Paul a win link. He'd love it.
Right, but that qualifies you for our, our win link gathering.
We do have to have our win link members or on a show.
That is on my list.
All Stars.
Yeah,
and we'll probably have to do that probably in maybe June or August when things are a little quieter and we can finally get all that together.
How many Patreon members do we have right now?
Good question. I think we can
not enough.
Like 12. Yeah, never enough, but we're appreciative of those that are.
Of course.
And those folks were at 15 active members. So
all right. So how many people can we get on this screen?
12 at one time.
So I think
unless right, we put everybody in Discord
and then feed
and then feed that in.
Yeah, we could do that. I
did
notice that.
And then it's just one box with everybody.
That is definitely a possibility. I noticed that the Discord now offering an OBS plugin. So, yeah, we might be able to do something.
Is that why Discord keeps freaking telling me that I have OBS running?
I realized that. I kept fighting with it all the time, so I had to shut it off. But yeah. It is one more thing, one more bit of technology that I have to fight with to be able to make work with this. Why not? So yeah, dude, we'll definitely have to do that in the next 2 months because I know we have at least 8 paid members, so we could have no problem being able to get all 8 on this show if they all wanted to join. I know some of them don't want to be on, but that's totally fine. Just come hang out in the chat for sure. Come be part of the fun, and we'll put that together soon. And then, we're going to be gearing up soon, probably in the next, 2 months after that, after June, after field day, talking more about 24-hour POTA and making sure we get all of our I's dotted and T's crossed and ready to rock and roll with that. So,
and Huntsville.
Well, you're going to Huntsville, so you're going to have to represent. You got a big weight on your shoulders, making sure Live Free and Ham is known. We need to be known.
Well, I'll need to get some more hammies because I think I've only got like 3 left.
If you're going to be back up this way, let me know, and I will lock and load you full, of a ton of them, so we can spread the love there. So, cool. Well, outside of that, let's put a bow on this. So, as always, we love you guys. Thanks again for being part of the community. We enjoyed. Mike jumped into the chat tonight here, and again, if you're a Patreon member, a paid member, we have this once a week. So you can come in and hang out in the live chat, stop in, say hello, hang out for the duration, participate. We'd love to have you. And it's always a blast for us. And we apologize, obviously, for this week because for whatever reason, EV Mux wanted to basically tell us to go pound send and trying to create a private live stream in why, whatever. After the third time's a charm, I finally figured it out. So with that, always, like we said, head over to our Discord, join in the conversation. We'll have all of our show notes and everything posted over there. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, like we always say. Make sure you set the notification bell so you get notified when we go live. And then, as always, we have our SMS and our show notes. And you can always leave us a voicemail because we love voicemails and we love getting feedback. So Todd can read something because he's been chomping at the bit to hear from you guys. So come on, step up to the plate, guys. Stop what you're doing. Send us something. Let us know what's going on. Maybe something sparked a question with tonight's episode. And feel free to send that over to us. And then, hey, if you aren't a Patreon member, like we always say,
sorry,
you can join for as little as 3 hours a month. It's not a big expense.
Like Bob said, not a big expense, but you get a whole lot.
As little as 3 hours a month. It's not a big.
So nice. Got to play it twice.
Exactly. and you get a lot out of that. And so, head on over and help support our community. And as always, you can head over to livefreeandham.com/shop. Check out all our swag. Check out the website. Check out all of our podcasts. Learn more about the hosts. And check out our latest shirt, RF and Find Out. I love that shirt. I got to get myself one printed and sent my way. And as always, guys, thanks again for listening. And from all of us here at Live Free and Ham, 7-3.
7-3.
7-3.